As I've been recovering out loud on this app, watching Sober TikTok, I've learned that everybody's recovery journey looks different, down to what their life was like when they were drinking, how they got sober. And also, I've noticed that the terminology people use is typically different. Some people don't like the term alcoholic. Some people don't like to call themselves an alcoholic. Some people call themselves problem drinkers, gray area drinkers, binge drinkers. For me, it's neither here nor there. If someone wants to call me an alcoholic, they can. I mean, I've called myself an alcoholic before. I look at it just like you're just arguing semantics. You're splitting hairs. I was someone who had no control over alcohol, and that's where I think the term alcohol use disorder is a lot more fitting, because it's on a spectrum and it's a lot broader, because you don't have to be the standard alcoholic that's gotten the DUIs, physically dependent. If you don't drink, you have seizures, your wife's left you, lost your job, you're pretty much homeless. You don't have to be what was the standard for many years of what we did consider an alcoholic. You don't have to be that to have a problem with drinking. Because there's many of us that were very high functioning. We didn't get DUIs because we didn't get caught. We didn't lose our job. Our spouse wasn't giving us an ultimatum. So if we were to stick with that checklist, we would think that, oh, well, we're okay. We don't have a drinking problem. But if you look at other things like your mental health, your physical health, your sleep, the health of your relationships, that can be a gauge or a way for you to see, is my drinking really healthy? Because how is it affecting these other areas? But where there is a little bit of a rub for me, or some tension, is once you've been in recovery for a longer period of time, do you still call yourself an alcoholic? Do you still identify with that term? I know if you go to AA meetings, which meetings I've been to before, it's always, hi, I'm Beth, I'm an alcoholic, and then you share. But should we be still calling ourselves alcoholics when we're no longer drinking? We've been sober. We've been building a life in recovery. We're thriving in our recovery. Is it healthy to still identify with that? Because for me, I feel like that shows like a weakness, or I'm not totally convinced of my sobriety yet. Like I'm that relapse waiting to happen. Like the whole relapse is part of recovery thing. So whereas I look back at my drinking career, I would 100% say, yes, Beth was an alcoholic. But now, being over 2 years sober, would I still say, hi, I'm Beth, I'm an alcoholic? And I understand that I am not above a relapse. It is definitely a reality. It is something that could happen. And I'm very aware of that. But do I want to walk around with that identity of being an alcoholic in my recovery? Because if you were to look at my life 2+ years ago compared to where it is now, it's a 180. It's completely different. I look different. I think different. The way I view alcohol is so different. When I see drinking, there's no longer a longing or a desire for that. It's a, no, Beth, you're not able to do that, because when you did drink, it was not just a casual 2 drinks. This is what it's turned into. And I've tasted enough of the goodness that comes with sobriety to the point that I don't even want to drink. I don't want to go back to living the way that I was before. I've been working on building a life that I don't want to escape from anymore. So the pull to alcohol, it's not there anymore. And I don't like the idea that I'm just absolutely powerless over something, because as far as I see it, I won, alcohol lost, because I don't even want you anymore. And I'm not trying to sound like a prideful just jerk, but I don't want you anymore. So how could I walk around still carrying this identity from a life that I no longer live anymore? And like I said, I know I'm not above a relapse, but I'm also not walking around fearful that at any minute I could just relapse, or I'm just going to get in my car and drive to the store and buy alcohol. I feel like the way that I think is different. My mind, in a sense, has been transformed with how I view alcohol. So therefore, I think differently towards it. And that's where change comes, is when you start thinking different. And I'm not in denial of who I was when I was drinking. It's just that I know I'm not that person anymore. So why would I call myself an alcoholic?